Yes, sir. Welcome in, everybody, to episode 288 of the Dream Wager, Monday, July 17th, 2023, coming to you from the Twin City, Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm your host, D-Rock, and joining me back on the East Coast, my main man, our partner in crime, Elvis Acosta. How you doing, kid?
I'm doing good, Dilly, coming at you an hour ahead of the boys. So, we live, Dill. Scorching hot in the East Coast, about 90 degrees today, but we're cool. We chilling.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad today over here. It was around 73, 75. It was
In
it was
July.
actually beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. It
Wow.
was beautiful, light breeze. Visited about 4 or 5 more lakes. I'm up to 15. I saw a nice waterfall. That's about it here. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
this shit
I
can
mean,
afford
what
the trip.
on the license plates, I'll tell you, ain't it the truth? The state of 10,000 lakes. There's literally every lake you can imagine. If there's a small lake, big lake where people do jet skis, they paddle board and whatnot. Saw the Mississippi River. It's pretty cool. Just another big fucking river, I guess.
In a war.
Yeah, but other than that, man, I'm enjoying myself. Probably gonna go see a WNBA game. Probably gonna go see the Twins game on Friday night. But yeah, doing well over here. We got a good show for everyone today. Deadline today for franchise tag players. Deals did not get done. We'll talk about that. Someone did get a deal done. We'll talk about that. D-Hop to the Titans. They forced my Jets to Hard Knocks. We'll talk about that. We got some MLB plays as well, and then we can continue our two-a-days with the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars. But Elvis, let's start with the 3 guys that didn't get a deal done. Saquon, Josh Jacobs, which still fucking confuses me, and actually Tony Pollard. So very interesting there. As it stands right now, those guys were not able to reach a deal by today's Monday 4 p.m. franchise tag deadline. So they're not forced to go to training camp. They won't be fined for that, but they will start to lose game checks if they miss week 1. That's the thing. There were players that were franchise tagged and did reach deals. The most well-known is Lamar, 5 years, 260. Daron Payne, 4 years, 90 with the Washington football team. And we'll talk about in just a little, Evan Ingram, he got a 3-year, $41.25 million contract. So I don't know, man. We'll talk about notable running backs that kind of held out, and they really didn't. I don't expect them to hold out through the season, but Le'Veon Bell, Zeke in 2019, Melvin Gordon in 2019, Chris Johnson in 2011. And it always seems that the organization winds up winning because they never wind up getting what they deserve. So we'll start with the most notable one, Saquon, which we've been talking about. Are you surprised that they weren't able to reach a deal?
Nah, not at all, Dill. The way things are going and heading, I think it kind of tended towards that direction. It kind of, it's upsetting that the fact that a team and one of the best running backs in football can't come together and make a deal. It's kind of, it leaves you with a sour taste in your mouth, especially if you're, I'm not a Giants fan, but if I'm a Giants fan, I'm kind of pissed off at the front office. Like, hey, this guy just had his best career season so far. We made the playoffs, won the road playoff, and now you don't want to pay the guy who honestly helped us do that. We saw him have a huge game in Minnesota, have those huge games in the regular season. Dale, it just doesn't make sense. And me and you both agreed that Daniel Jones will regress if Saquon is not in the backfield this upcoming season. So we saw Daniel Jones get a huge payday. You don't agree with it. To me, at the end of the day, that's what market is. So
I agree he should have gotten paid. I just don't agree at the 40 million.
No. That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't agree with the amount he got paid. Maybe he should have left some on the bone for my boys Saquon. But, Dill, it is what it is. Am I shocked by it? No, I just keep leaving me with a question mark asking, why don't these GMs, I understand, the running back position devalued over the last, 15, 20 years. But you saw how good him and Daniel Jones were last season. Why, cause friction to that? That's my concern.
And you literally took the words right out of my mouth, and that's what Saquon tweeted. It is what it is, and he's kind of frustrated. And from everything that I've grasped from Giant fans back home, Giant fans on Twitter, they're more mad at Saquon. And I don't understand that. They're saying, bro, they're basically telling him to shut up and take whatever that 10.91 million, whatever the franchise tag amount is. And I think that's disrespectful. You laid out everything that he meant to that team. When healthy, he's a top 5 running back in the league. Not saying he deserves Christian McCaffrey money, but what do we have to do? Are we waiting for someone to just come in and reset the market to where I guess all these running backs are going to get 10 to 12 million a year, or what's going to happen until we stop having these holdouts? For example, Josh Jacobs, what more does he have to do? He led the league in rushing yards. He literally put the team on his back while they had a very down year. And now they're saying, you know what? Now we're not going to pay you. And you know who I think ruined it? And I love the guy, but I think Zeke in that contract kind of ruined it for the running back.
No, Zeke and Jerry Jones. It's not just Zeke Elliott's fault. Jerry Jones is the one who paid him.
Yes, I mean, if I was Zeke, I would have taken the money too. I don't blame him, but it's just very unfortunate. We speak about them. Tony Pollard, they were expected to make a deal done, and now, but he will report. They said he's going to play through it, but they didn't get a long term, and he's going to be a free agent next year. I think they're going to bring Zeke back to back him up on like a vet minimum type thing. What if Tony Pollard goes down? Who do they have?
They have Ronald Jones Jr., who I know you're not a big fan of, Dill, but he will take most of that ground and pound in that end zone, what Zeke Elliott was doing last season. And they drafted that kid who's supposedly going to be real good in the 3rd or 4th round, kid. So I'm just telling you what they're going into the upcoming season. They got Tony Pollard as the number 1. They got Ronald Jones Jr., and they got a rookie that looks promising, Dill. That's what I've been told, and that's what I'm telling you and the people.
Do you agree with it?
I don't agree with not giving Tony Pollard a contract. Do I agree to bring in Zeke Elliott back? No. Just because, Dill, it's a losing cause. Can Zeke Elliott be a voice in the locker room? Yes. But what he's going to provide to you on the field? Absolutely nothing that you don't already have, Dill. You have running back in place that's going to put up, to me, better numbers that Ezekiel is capable of putting up. If you wanted just an extra running back coach and a voice in the locker room, a vet player in there, yeah, sign Zeke Elliott. But if you want to sign Zeke Elliott and expect production out of him, you're just simply not going to get it.
Yeah, so we know he's going to play under the franchise tag, but how long?
Real quick, though.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard's the only exception here, just because he is coming off a career-threatening injury. This guy broke his leg in the playoff game late January. Saquon walked off the field, healthy man. Josh Jacobs didn't even play in the playoffs. Walked off week 17, a healthy man. He had a little knick-knack injury, but nothing that needed to be surgically repaired. And the guy just led the NFL in rushing. These Tony Pollard's coming off an injury where they were saying is a small chance he might not be ready for week 1. But he rehabbed well. Congrats to him. He will be ready for week 1. That's the only one that's like, all right, that makes sense. He's coming off injury. Let's see how he looks, the first few weeks of the season. Then we might get something done. But with Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley, we've seen what they did, and they're healthy. They're 100% healthy. At least Tony Pollard coming off of surgery.
Yeah, that makes sense. I understand from a business aspect, not giving Tony Pollard, I guess, a long-term contract. And I understand from Tony Pollard's understanding that, I have to stay healthy in order to get a long-term contract. So it's a prove-it year. He's going to make $10 million a year. And then hopefully he gets his bread in free agency, whether it's from the Cowboys or another team.
I think we both agree if Tony Pollard walks out that 49ers game,
he gets a long-term.
I think they get a long-term deal done. Because what Tony Pollard was able, I won the Super Bowl. I had Tony Pollard. I won the Super Bowl in our fantasy league deal. I had Tony Pollard. Nobody thought about him. I said, give me Tony. And look, ended up winning the Super Bowl. That guy from week 5, week 6 on, he did it rushing and catching.
So now I guess the timetable for Saquon and Josh Jacobs is about little over a month and a half until I guess preseason games start. Camp starts very soon. I think next
We-
week or this week or something like that.
next-
So yeah, next week. It all depends on the team, but I guess does it can't when I guess my question to you is when do you think a deal gets done? Because I don't expect either of them to start missing games and then missing game checks.
Um, Saquon possibly misses a game or two. Josh Jacobs, I don't see Josh Jacobs missing a game or two. This is why. Saquon has a Nike deal. He has endorsement deals, so he could afford. Not saying Josh Jacobs can't afford. All I'm saying is Saquon has a little more leave, a little more money in the bank to miss a game or two to put more pressure on his team than Josh Jacobs has to put more pressure on the Raiders. So if I had to pick one of the three to miss games, I would pick Saquon Barkley to miss a game or two or three for the New York Giants. Josh Jacobs, I think he'll play. I think he'll miss all the preseason, all the training camp. I think he waits possibly to the day prior of Week 1's matchup to report. So I think Tony, like you alluded to earlier, I think Tony probably reports the training camp day one. I don't think there's no hostility there. Like I said, he's coming off an injury. These other two guys are freshly healthy, so I see Saquon holding out, and I see Josh Jacobs just holding off to the 18th hour before game one.
The reason I'm laughing is I looked up real quick the endorsements and trying to compare them. Saquon going crazy.
I know.
Saquon got Nike, Pepsi, Visa, Dunkin' Donuts. Shout out Dunkin'. X2. I guess it's like an energy drink. Gillette, Microsoft. Oakley's is like a yogurt. Rocket Mortgage, Verizon, Hulu, Campbell's
Damn.
Chunky, Citibank, Old Spice, Bose Speaker, Pandora, Panera Bread, and Extreme Networks. I think Saquon's good. Now, I was looking at Josh Jacobs. He has a Nike, he has Kia, DraftKings, Tide, Body Armor, Snickers, and Sleep Number. He's sleeping good on that mattress, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, not even like Saquon has double what Josh Jacob had.
Saquon has his own signature shoe.
Yeah. Josh Jacobs does not.
He does not.
But he's still Nike cuts him a check. Nike cuts him a check. But yeah, you're right. I don't think they're pressing for the money, but it's nice to feel appreciated, especially Josh Jacobs. I hate to keep harping on it, but what more does this guy have to do?
I don't think he's out of line for asking to getting something he deserves. It's not like Josh. I highly doubt. I'm not saying I'm correct about this. I just highly doubt Josh Jacobs is asking to reset the running back market and asking to get paid 15, 16 plus $1 million a season. I just highly doubt that. If he is, by all means, I'm wrong in this situation. But I just highly doubt him. Josh Jacobs is trying to reset the running back market because it won't be resetted. I think it was a huge mistake by Jerry Jones, Cowboys, and other teams in the NFL are just not going to match or deal with it. Same way we saw how all these new contracts ain't nothing like we saw with Deshaun Watson get 250 fully guaranteed. You saw Lamar get paid, I think 180 fully guaranteed. Jalen Hurts 190 fully guaranteed. Nobody has exceeded that $200+ million fully guaranteed. I don't think another team is going to reset the quarterback market same way we saw the Browns reset it.
The quarterbacks are a different thing, I think. Just because they're the most important position in all of sports, the number will continue to go up instead of staying level. I think Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, they're gonna get money. They're gonna get more, and I think Patrick Mahomes cut them a deal a couple years ago. He signed a 10-year extension, but he's worth way more than that. Just won a Super Bowl again for them. So quarterbacks aren't starving by any means, but we did mention Jags and Evan Ingram. They did reach a deal yesterday. It's a 3-year, $41.25 million deal.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice. 24 of it is guaranteed. It places him slightly under George Kittle's $15 million a year. I think he makes the most. So It's their franchise tight end. It pairs him up with a nice offensive core for Trevor Lawrence. We'll speak about that in a little, but I like the deal for them. I thought they were cutting it very close to the deadline. I was surprised it took them this long to get a deal done, but the way Evan Ingram had a season last year, very deservingly gets that contract. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a contract well deserved. We saw him have his best season yet since Eli Manning.
Yeah.
Since his first 2 seasons in the NFL, we saw him get traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we saw him and the team and Trevor, honestly, take off, hit that next step. So I think they had to reach a deal. I think it was the right move. We saw, that how that offense literally took off when he joined the team and ran right into the playoffs right to a 20-something point comeback. So I think Evan crucial to this offense moving forward, and I think that's why they got a 3-year deal instead of just a 1 or 2 year deal.
Yeah.
I think they know deep down, hey, this kid is going to help us win moving forward. Let's just not get a 1-year deal done. Let's get a multi-year deal done.
Yeah, and I think Calvin really coming back really, takes some pressure off of him, Zay Jones, Christian Kirk. Like they got a good offense, and we saw Trevor Lawrence was obviously really good. He was obviously really good coming out of college and coming out of Clemson, but you put pieces around him, you get him a functioning coach. Shout out Urban Meyer. I know it was very dysfunctional. He's a legend though, still in my opinion, but it was bad, and it was bad when he was there. You bring in a guy like Doug Peterson who has won a Super Bowl, and look at that next step. They won they were competitive. I won't say, they hurt Patrick Mahomes. They rolled his ankle a little bit in that playoff game, and they put some pressure on him. Fucking Chad Henne, 40 years old, driving down the field 99 yards. Jesus. But I agree. I like the deal for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I think he definitely deserves it. Another guy I think that deserves a contract, and he did. Titans. It was crazy. We were talking about him, I think, last week, talking with CT. Maybe he lands with New England. Maybe he lands with Tennessee. It was between those two. Also, the Chiefs' name were involved as well, but he winds up signing with Tennessee on a 2-year deal. The first year, I think he's getting a base of $12 million, but incentives could get him up to $15 million a year. So it's just strange to me. I like the move from Tennessee's perspective, but if you really look back I don't really know. I think it was a few weeks ago, D-Hop went on a podcast and he said, well, what are the things you're looking for? He said stable management, which I think Tennessee kind of has, a great defense because defense wins championships. They have a good defense under Vrabel, and a quarterback who loves the game. And I think that's the big question because we don't really know. Is it going to be Ryan Tannehill? Is it going to be Will Levis? We could get Malik Willis. I don't think it's going to be him. But are they going to go with the kid from Kentucky or are they going to go with Ryan Tannehill? I don't know. But I don't know if it puts them over the hump. We'll get to them on Saturday. But it definitely improves them. But I don't really know if it puts them over the hump or gets their next step. What do you think about the signing for D-Hop?
For a Tennessee perspective, is a great move. For D-Hop, if I'm DeAndre Hopkins, this could possibly be the end of the road. Do I want to end my career in Tennessee with a question mark at quarterback? Me, no. That's just my thinking. So I just feel like he just sat out and was like, all right, who's gonna offer me the most money? And I think Tennessee offering him the most money. Nothing against that. Nothing wrong with that. Like you alluded to, great management, great defense. The big question mark is Ryan Tannehill, Will Levis, or Malik Willis. We'll see about that. I think it's going to be Ryan Tannehill or Will Levis. One thing about this, though, he is the uncut, true number one wide receiver in this team. Bunch of young guys, that he could, mentor and stuff like that. It's just, to me, they're not a contender, and the quarterback is just not up to par. So for D-Hop, to me, it was a bad move. For Tennessee, it was a great move.
Yeah, I agree. I think for D-Hop, it was obviously the money. They upped it a little bit. I think they gave him the fifth. They were like,
and I
we'll
know
give you the 12 years.
Offer him 2 years, $15 million.
Yeah, and I just feel bad for D-Hop because there wasn't he's not far removed from being a top 5 receiver in the league. to be honest. And my thing is, you always feel bad for those receivers who are really good and they never really get a good quarterback, And besides Deshaun Watson, who has he played with? Don't tell me Kyler Murray. Please don't tell me Kyler Murray. But besides him, I kind of feel bad for D-Hop because he's a great wide receiver. He just never really had a quarterback outside of Deshaun Watson.
He had Matt Schaub was all right. He was all right. He's better than what is in Tennessee, yes or no?
I think it's very even between him and Ryan. I don't think there's a big difference, to be honest.
I agree with you there, but Matt Schaub was all right. He's an above average NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But other than that, yeah, I agree with you, Bill. But
it's just sad.
I put back on Matt Schaub. He was good.
I'm going to swing it in a Patriot way. Kind of has to feel like a dig on you and your organization that he kind of said, you know what, I'm actually going to go. It checks all the boxes, I guess. I think Mac Jones is better. I think he will be better with Bill O'Brien and everybody, and that not that circus act. It kind of feels like, damn, it kind of slipped away, but it's never really been, quote unquote, the Patriot way of getting that wide receivers. Am I correct?
Yeah, Dale. I think at the end of the day, we looked at it like we got a pretty good wide receiver room. It's not great, but it's above average. I think it's top 15 in the league. Start there. And I think they look at it, Bill Belichick, we know he tends not to pay players. So maybe we just looked at it 2 years, $25, $30 million is just too much. We got a 2-year 15, 2-year 18, $8-9 million a year we'll do for you. And maybe he sat back and thought about it. Hey, I am playing for the greatest coach of all time. New England defense, always a top 10 defense. And then with Mac Jones, maybe I could, pull him over the hump. Make him a top 10 quarterback. But I guess he just went, Tennessee. Hey, I'm not blaming him for taking no money.
No.
But I just feel like there would have been, if you would have just took a little less money, I think you would have had a better opportunity to put up better numbers and to win.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. So should be interesting. Glad he actually got paid, deserved it. He's still a top 10 receiver in the league, in my opinion. And hopefully he balls out, to be honest. Hopefully he balls out. And as for the quarterback situation, I'll address it on the episode on Saturday because I do think I have an inkling of what they're going to do. And then lastly, it was announced yesterday, or maybe it was today. It was earlier today. Hard Knocks officially will be in New York. First episode is Tuesday, August 8th, so about 3 weeks from tomorrow. Tickets for the Jets' first 4 opening camp practices sold out in 3 minutes. So, a lot of hype. I was looking at tickets for the other ones, and they're not much, but every time I tried to buy tickets for practice, the site crashed. So 5 more practices will be available to buy in the coming days. So I'm going to try to get my tickets on one. I'm trying to go to one practice. I want to see Hard Knocks there. I always wanted to go, but don't know how I feel about it. They kind of forced our hand on it. We have too much attention on us anyway. So Hard Knocks, I will say on a positive note, the last time we were in Hard Knocks, we made it to the AFC Championship. Now, I think Robert Salah needs to go and get a tattoo of Robert or Aaron Rodgers' wife or someone. That's what Rex Ryan did with Mark Sanchez. But, I don't really know how. I'm indifferent. I guess that's the word I would describe my feeling as. It's cool. It's good for business, I guess, for publicity, but I don't really want more eyes on us. I like to go under the radar, but I knew they were going to do it because no one wanted to do it, and Jets have all this hype around them. So I understand it from an NFL perspective. What do you make on Jets getting Hard Knocks?
I think it was the team to beat, though. It was either y'all or the Dallas Cowboys. Just because I feel like last year was a weak year for the Hard Knocks, so I think this year they had to come back with a bang, and why not the New York Jets with Aaron Rodgers? Like I said, it was either y'all or the Cowboys. Just because I feel Hard Knocks last season was poor.
I love Hard Knocks, though. On just a pure show, I love it because it gets me ready for fucking football. It's like, wow, football's in less than a month. I'm ready to go. And to be honest, even the Netflix documentary Quarterback, you put any behind the scene football, I'll fucking watch it. Like, to be honest, I fucking love that stuff. Like, I feel like I'm a nerd with that stuff. You get me inside the locker room of what everyone's talking about. You sold me. So I can't wait. I'll definitely be watching. I watched last year's. I thought it was, I wouldn't say it was bad. It was mid.
It
It was
wasn't
mid.
as good as the Cowboys 2 years ago.
No, but
That,
that's the Cowboys.
that's
Come
what I'm
on.
saying. You know, it was just more entertaining, and I think it was a big drop off. So they had to come back with a bang. It was
Yeah.
big bang than Aaron Rodgers' New York Jets first season. There's nothing more entertaining than that.
It might help us. It might really help us. Who knows? It helped us last time.
Drive your players to practice better, be better.
Hey, I think Aaron Rodgers, bias aside, I think Aaron Rodgers gonna have an amazing year. I said it. I think he's gonna set the franchise record in passing yards. So I think
nobody wants to get caught on camera.
That's a fact.
Boy's gonna be playing.
And I'm glad they got the deal done. And I think that was a little driving force because I think they knew something that we didn't. You never want to negotiate or have a contract dispute during Hard Knocks. You know, get the deal done. And I'm glad they got it done with Quentin Williams. Not to rehash that whole thing again. But yeah, that's all the NFL news during that happened over the weekend. Elvis, let's get into these picks. Let's start with the baseball slate. I got a few plays and props, actually. I'll let you lead it off, though. We'll start ping-ponging it back and forth. You lead us off, though. What do you got?
Let's go to the St. Louis, 7:45 start time. Miami Marlins versus the St. Louis Cardinals, Dill. Give me the Miami Marlins on the money line, -110. As of right now, they're -112, people, so shop around. I just feel like Miami's the better team. I understand they're on the road. They're not road dogs per se, but basically you pick them. I'm going to just roll with the better team. Give me the Marlins on the money line.
Yeah, I took the Marlins as well. I took them a little early. I got them at -104. Still like them.
Got them as dogs.
Yeah, short dogs. Not a Miles Mikolas fan, like I said. I understand why they're the underdog. They lost the last two to the Orioles. They do play a lot of one-run games. It kind of reminds me of the Vikings, of all the one-score games that they won. At a certain point, you're going to start losing those games, especially in a baseball season where it's 182 games. So I understand it. They've kind of regressed a little coming out of the All-Star break, but I do like the Marlins. Jesus Luzardo has been amazing. That's my first player prop. Over 6.5 strikeouts at +110. He's hit this in 4 straight. He versed the St. Louis Cardinals I think it was 2 or 3 starts ago. He struck out 8, so getting plus money to get 7. I like that as well. What's your next play?
Dill, going to Chicago. I know it's a little chalk. Oh, price drop. Give me the Washington. No. I'm sorry. Washington Nationals taking on Chicago Cubs. Give me the Cubs on the money line, -140, Dill. I'm going to go with Smiley in this situation. At home, I think they could pull it through. It's a little chalky, people, like I said, but I'm going to go with Chicago on the money line. To me, I won't lay on the run line at +145. You're more than welcome to, people, but I ended up playing it safe. If you want, add it to a parlay. Chicago Cubs -140 on the money line.
Yeah, I do like it. It was much heavier earlier in the day. I thought I saw that price, but you said it went down. I like it. I like Cody Bellinger, his hits, runs, and RBI. It's HRR on DraftKings. He's gone over this 39 out of 61 times this season. That's over 64%. And I think he matches up well, against Mackenzie Gore. He's batting .351 against lefties this season. So I do like Cody Bellinger on the Cubs. On the other side, on Washington, I do like his HRR as well, Lane Thompson. He has struggled since they moved him to the second hole a little bit, but at his last 30 at-bats, he's gone over this, or last 30 games, excuse me, he's gone over this in 22 out of 30 games. That's 77%. And Drew Smiley, he's good, but in his 9 plate appearances, in 9 plate appearances, Lane Thomas is hitting .444 against Lane Smiley. Or Drew Smiley, excuse me. So I'm gonna go over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs for Lane Thompson. It's a little chalky at -140, but I do like that play in that game. What else you got, kid?
Still, I'm gonna roll with my boy, even against my own team. Give me the Oakland Athletics. First 5 against the Boston Red Sox. You heard it first, people. I'm gonna take Blackburn the first 5, so plus money, people. Give me Oakland Athletics first 5 money line at plus 115.
That whole division, Blue Jays, we mentioned it over the weekend. They're smoking hot out of the break. Red Sox are hot. Orioles, they're 2 games behind the Rays. Rays are good. Yankees are slipping a little, but that whole division, I'm very not confused, but it's interesting that you're going against them. I know Blackburn's your boy, but Red Sox are hot right now.
First 5, we could be down 2-1.
Hey, we want a tie. Yeah. First 5 plus a half, give me a tie through 5. I like that. I'm going to go back to an earlier game. I'm going to go Cleveland Guardians and Pittsburgh Pirates under 9.5. I like that. I like Curry as well for the Cleveland Guardians. Both struggling offenses. I think that number 9.5 is way too big. So going to go under there. In San Francisco and Cincinnati, I like Logan Webb over 5.5 strikeouts at minus 140 as well. I think I just skipped you. What else you like, kid?
No, the rest are just leans. You know, I lean with the Rangers at plus money. I just feel like, you know, they're at home. They could probably sneak it out against Tampa. Tampa's the better team, but you got to respect the Rangers at home. And then they're also like the Mariners at home as well against the Twins. I think that's another one. It's just minus 140. I'm not going to put up 2 chalks on the board. I already got one minus 140 play with the Cubs. I ain't going to do another one, but I also do like the Mariners tonight. Hey, if you want, parlay the Mariners with the Cubs, people, plus money.
Let's go. So for me, the rest of mine, I actually lean the other way. I'm going to take the short number at on the road with the Tampa Bay Rays to bounce back. Should be a very good series between 2 of the best teams, Rangers and Rays. I'm going to take the Rays with Shane McClanahan on the mound, minus 118 on the money line. I really do like that play. I'm going to take Shane McClanahan over 1.5 walks at I got it at minus 130. He's gone over this in 9 straight games. He's walked at least 2 batters in 9 straight games. He's gone over this in 12 of 17 overall this season. And I think it's a good matchup. You know, Texas, they head into this series with the 6th highest walk rate as well. So they are very disciplined at the plate as well. So I do like that one as well. I'm going to go Detroit Tigers and the Kansas City Royals. I know it's Jordan Lyles Day, and everyone likes to say that, but he's actually been a little better. He got 2 sluggish offenses. I'm going to go under 9.5 in that one. And then you mentioned Seattle. You do lean Seattle. I do as well, but I'm actually going to take Logan Gilbert. I'm going to take his strikeouts under 7.5. He's gone under this number in 7 or 8 straight. He 7.5 is just way too big. So I'm going to go under that. It is a little chalky, minus 145, but you know, the market is telling you something. He hasn't gotten 8 strikeouts since I think the last one was May 20th against Atlanta, where he had 8 strikeouts and barely got over.
He's due though.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the trend here and back the numbers, but I'm gonna go Logan Gilbert as my last play under 7.5 strikeouts. Any game I left out or any play I didn't touch for you?
No, Dill. You touched basically everything. The only game we didn't have an opinion on is Cleveland and Pittsburgh, Dill. If anything,
I took the under.
You like the under. I like Cleveland. I lean Cleveland on the road, and then Dodgers versus Warriors.
Yeah.
Orioles. I'm gonna be honest, I ain't touch it, but I'm gonna have to roll with the Orioles in this scenario. We saw the Dodgers kind of struggle against your New York Mets still, so you know I understand they won a game or 2, but we saw it wasn't the prettiest win. So I think I like the Orioles to at least win the series.
I was going to take the Orioles, and the reason I didn't take the Orioles is because Grayson Rodriguez is back. It's his first start. I kind of want to see him how he does. It is against the Dodgers. It's no easy task. So I agree. I think they should win. They are the better team. They're playing better. But I want to see the kids first start in a while. So
I like Orioles, but I'm not gonna advise any.
Yeah, so got actually a loaded slate. Thank God the fucking Mets aren't playing. It's just good for my health, to be honest. I was watching the game yesterday before. I caught the last couple innings, and I could, like I don't know what you're laughing at, but like, when you win a game, you're all hype, you're clapping, like, hey, we finally got a win. I just sat there. I was like, huh, like they won. Like, oh, okay, like
Okay. You
I
still, know.
yeah, they still suck. They're still disappointing. Thank God for my mental health. Thank God they're not playing today, so I don't have to watch that. But before we get to our two-a-days, let me quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. There's no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition, with only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV. Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebrations, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's Huckleberry playing around the golf with the boys or an elderberry after a Saturday morning workout, it doesn't matter. Our flavors pair perfectly with that artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at the Dream Wager and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, Elvis, let's get to it. We are back with our NFL two-a-days. We took care of the AFC East. We're on to the AFC South now. We were gonna do it. We were gonna do Texans and Titans. We moved that back in our interview for this weekend. So did a little curveball for everyone. We are going to do the Colts today and Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot to talk about in Jacksonville, in my opinion, but we will start with the Indianapolis Colts. Right now, Colts to win the Super Bowl 100-1. If you're putting a ticket in for that, kudos to you. Just a little pizza bet, I guess, but a lot to work on there. To win the AFC, they are 65-1. They have the second longest odds. And then they have they actually have the third odds to win the division at plus 550, right behind Tennessee Titans and Jacksonville Jaguars. And they're the make or miss the playoffs for the Indianapolis Colts. To make it plus 350, to lose it or to not make it is -1 or -500, excuse me. And then I'm looking for their win total. I think it's at 6.5, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, 6.5. Let me get the over under for you real quick. Sorry. Over is -128. Under is at plus money, plus 104. Elvis, I will let you lead it off. We'll start on the team aspect. I don't think you're going to touch the conference or the Super Bowl. Maybe they got a shot. That's not funny. Maybe they got a chance to win the AFC South, or you want to attack their win total. How are you going to play this?
Still, I'm going to be real. They have no shot to win the South. Let's just be honest. The only real way they have a shot is not to wish if a quarterback goes down in the division. If they're gone for the year. So they have a small chance, but realistically, I don't think they get this.
Yeah, I forgot to mention new coach. They got the offensive coordinator from Philly, went to the Super Bowls, Shane Steichen. Something like that. They got a new OC. It was the Jaguars actually past coordinator Jim Bob Cooter. They got the same defensive coordinator Gus Bradley as well. They drafted Anthony Richardson in the first round. They addressed their cornerback. They got Julius Brits out of Kansas State. They got Josh Downs, a nice wide receiver, deep threat in the third round. They addressed basically their defense in the draft. Should be a very interesting year. I did want to lay that out before you go further. But 6.5 win totals. Last year, they went 4-12-1. I mean, they should have beat Minnesota. Minnesota came back from the biggest deficit in NFL history. So they should have won 5 games, in my opinion. But it's very interesting, I think, this team. I think there's a lot of upside. There's a lot of young players here. Do you like the over or under for their win total?
Dill, give me the under. 6.5 at plus 104, Dill. This team, I like the rebuild they're on. I see the potential. Anthony Richardson. I love Jonathan Taylor. I love Pittman Jr. The defense, been a top 10 defense over the last 3-4 years. You know, they've been consistent. So I love the keeping the DC there. Great move. But it's just the question mark is, what are we going to see from Anthony Richardson? This is rookie season. I don't expect a lot from him, but I do expect him to be better what they had recent years. Think about it. Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan. I think the Colts organization and fan base deserves a quarterback deal. I think it's time.
Yeah.
Ever since my man Andrew Luck just retired, like 2 weeks before the season. So I hope for the Colts fans' sake, Anthony Richards is that guy. I just highly doubt he's gonna turn into that guy in his first season in NFL. So with
Yeah.
that being said, I'm smashing the under 6.5 wins at plus 104. People, I think this is a great price point, and I don't think it's gonna get any better from here on out.
Yeah, I agree. The under looks good, especially since we're getting plus money. If I had to lay anything, it was a stay away. You know, we mentioned the Indianapolis Colts always being a good team with an offensive line. Last year they ranked 18th. So kind of a step backwards. You know, through week 7, Matt Ryan had taken 63 hits. Do you know what that was ranked in the NFL through week 7?
32.
1.
Well,
He
yeah,
was the most hit quarterback. For context, the number 2 quarterback that was hit was Carson Wentz when he took 51 hits. So it's a big drop off. I like Anthony Richardson. I think the ceiling is high for him, but I agree. I don't think we're gonna see it year 1. He doesn't have the experience. He only played 13 games at Florida. He needs to get his feet wet a little bit. There are gonna be some bumps in the road. Offensive line, it's okay, I would say. I think it's middle of the pack. They had a down year, but I think they'll be better. Running back, I love the running back room. Receivers, I think the bottom half of the league. I like Pittman Jr. Alex Pierce is another one that's okay, but Zach Moss, he's
man.
okay out of the back. They're just okay. I like their front 7 on defense. Their front 7 is a top 10 front 7. Secondary, a little concerning. That's why they address it in the second round. And it's a new head coach. You know, he was an OC his whole life. He's never been a head coach. I just want to see it, you know, and there's a lot of like unknowns with this team. They had the 32nd ranked offense, last season when it all finished last season. Matt Ryan, he retired. I don't know if he went into the booth or whatnot, but he just wasn't the answer. And, you know, as for the team, the Colts had the 7th fewest adjusted games at loss. So that's an improvement of the prior season. But, you know, the offense has to deal with a lot of the injuries, and they're going to get tested this year. I think they have an easy schedule, but, you know, they still go on the road and have to deal with some people. The defense, they don't get after the quarterback. Their pressure rate was only 28% prior to when the other year when they won 11 games where it was 47%. So that big drop off, when if you don't get to the quarterback and you can't get to him, they're going to pick you apart in this league. You know, they lost Stephon Gilmore, veteran. He's a good guy. I love him. So they're going to take advantage over the air. I know they drafted a guy in the second round, but again, rookie. He's never been in the NFL. Quarterbacks are going to throw at him. That's just what it is at this point. So over the past 10 seasons, rookie quarterbacks have won 35.9% of their games. The numbers elevated a little bit since last year because Brock Purdy, you know, he was playing, but I just think this roster has a lot of holes. It's a team that's coming off a 14-win season, and they're relying on a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback.
Bad mix.
So 6.5 seems very, very generous, and we're getting plus money. I'm going to smash that as well. Let's take a look at the player props for this team. I think we could start with Anthony Richardson here. There's no market for him. Oh, they're passing yards. Excuse me.
I'm trying to find his
Yeah, I tried to find his passing touchdowns, but it only passing yards. It's sitting at 2,475.5 minus 112 both ways. We'll start there. What can you see from Anthony Richardson this season?
I think we got to go with the over in this scenario. If the kid plays 17 games, you're not going to tell me this kid's not about to throw for at least 2,800 to 3,200 passing yards. That's my thing. Unless you're going to tell me, Jonathan going to rush for over 2,000. Okay, you got me there. But if this kid Anthony Richardson starts week 1 and then plays all 17 games, I just don't see how this kid averages less than 180 yards passing a game. That don't make sense to me. So
Yeah.
give me Anthony Richardson over passing deal. To be honest, I think the number's too short. I understand it's not, we don't expect much from him, Dill, but I do expect at least 2,500 passing yards.
Yeah, Philly was good last year in the passing offense. Hopefully he could bring it over. I just think they lack the firepower to keep up with teams. I know they have the third easiest schedule behind New Orleans and Atlanta, but there's just so many holes in this team. Besides Jonathan Taylor, I think Jonathan Taylor's going to have a big year. Granted, hopefully he doesn't get hurt, but I don't know. I see it. There's going to be a lot of garbage time throws where they're going to be down and he's just going to be launching it.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you could find an Anthony Richardson rushing yards, I think he's going to rush.
He's going to escape in the pocket a lot.
Yeah. Let's start over there. The Jonathan Taylor, we'll start with his rushing yards, 1,200 and a half. Seems a little low, minus 112 both ways. You think he could have another 1,000-yard year?
Dill, this might surprise you. I do believe he will have another 1,000-yard season, Dill. But I'm going to go with the under 1,200 and a half. Hear me out. I do expect this team to, be playing from behind a lot. So with that point being intended, Dill, I'll just see Jonathan Taylor rushing the ball, 20 to 30 times a game when they're down double digits, So that's my thing. If you're down, 10-0 after the first quarter, you're not just going to keep running the ball second, third, and fourth quarter. I just don't see that happening. So I expect the coach to be down in a lot of games, especially early, and then I expect them to fight their way back in passing the ball instead of rushing their way back.
Yeah, so in his career, he's been in the league 3 years now. In his first year, he had 1,169 yards, went a little under that, but he had 11 touchdowns. 2021 was that amazing year where he was offensive player of the year. I think he got second in the voting for that, but what an amazing year that was. He had 1,811 yards, 18 touchdowns. And then last year, he only played 11 games. He got hurt. I think if he didn't get hurt, he would have got 1,000 yards. He still had 861. He only had 4 touchdowns. So it was a down year because of injury. I think he's going to go over that. I actually do think. Granted, he doesn't get hurt. If he plays just 15, 16 games, I think he gets over it. Because I do think the offensive line is going to be a little better. They had a bad year last year. I think they're going to improve a little bit. And I do for Anthony Richardson to succeed, he needs a run game. And thank God he has Jonathan Taylor. So, he's going to run the ball a lot, especially early on. I think first downs, and I think the offensive line is going to improve a little bit. So I do think he'll have an up year. So I'm actually going to go over his rushing yards. Now, if you want to take a look at his rushing touchdowns, he's sitting at 8.5. Like I mentioned, in his first year, he had 11. Second year, he had 18. He only had 4 last year. Do you think he's been over it 2 out of the 3 years? Granted, if he doesn't get hurt, I think he should go over this. Don't you agree?
Oh yeah, I took that one. I took the over 8.5 touchdowns rushing just because I expect the Colts, if they get down to the goal line, they're going to rely more on Jonathan Taylor's legs than Anthony Richards' arm, trying to fit something into tight coverage. So if they get down to the 10-5 yard line, I expect them to hammer with Jonathan Taylor, and I expect Jonathan Taylor to have another good season, just not great season, Dill, going over 1,200 and a half. So I am taking him over 8.5 touchdowns. I think he goes somewhere around 10 to 11, maybe 12, just because I feel like he's going to get a lot of red zone rushes.
Yeah. And now we go to Michael Pittman Jr. I think that's the only one we could really take advantage of on the wide receiver. And his receiving touchdown prop is at 4.5. Over 4.5 is at plus 108. He had 4 touchdowns last season. In 2021, with a little better of a quarterback, he had 6. And then in 2020, his first year, he had only 1. 4.5 with a rookie quarterback at plus money makes me kind of want to take the over, to be honest. What about you?
Still, I understand away from it just because, if he wasn't able to get 5 last season, I do think Matt Ryan is going to be a little better. We're gonna He's gonna be better than what we're gonna see from Anthony Richardson just this season alone. So I just feel like Pittman, he might get to 3, he might get to 4. It's gonna be tough to get to 5. But Dale, I took him over 800.5 receiving yards. I think that's a short number. I think Pittman has all the talents in the world to get over 1,000 yards. Will he with Anthony Richardson at the helm? We'll see about that. But I think 800.5 is just too short, Deal. I think the kid could go out there, average 80 to 100 yards a game, and go over 1,000.
Yeah, I agree. He's definitely their wide receiver 1. Last season, he had 925. He averaged about 9.5 yards per catch. 2021 was definitely his best year. He had over 1,000 receiving yards. I could see 800 seems a little small.
Yeah.
I could definitely see him. Like I said, I expect garbage time where they're going to be down in a lot of games where they're going to look towards Michael Pittman Jr. He's their best receiver. I like Alex Pierce. He's okay, but they definitely need better receivers, in my opinion, especially if they want Anthony Richardson to take that next step, like we just alluded with Trevor Lawrence, because they surround him with good veteran wide receivers, and he did take that next step. So we'll see you there. But yeah, not really much in the future market that I like. What else do you like?
I have one more play, people. A nice little fun one.
Yeah.
Give me the Colts to win exactly 6 games at plus 600, Bill. I think they get to exactly 6. Like you said, they have the 3rd easiest schedule. I think they'll sneak a game, here or there. And I think they end up with 6 wins plus 600. A bump from 4 games last season. I think they win 2 extra games. Give me 6 at plus 600.
Wow. I mean, at pure value standpoint, I like it. Yeah, 7's very, it's wishful thinking, I would say.
Yeah.
It's wishful thinking, but yeah, I mean, at plus 600 to win 6 games, and they do have an easy schedule. So, and they play, I think the rookie gets 16 of 18 games on Sunday, and all of they get no one off of a bye with extra rest, and the smallest rest time they have is 6 days. So they get a full week basically. They have no really rest advantage. Everything sets up nice for them. It's just, can they go out and actually achieve it and do it? Yes. So that's all I have for the Colts. Very bullish on them. I think it's going to be, they're rebuilding. That is what it is at this point. But a team that isn't rebuilding, and that they made a very good move, I thought, last season, bringing in Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram. Like I said, they just got him signed. Zay Jones. They bring in Doug Peterson, who's an amazing coach. Right now, they won Super Bowl. They are plus 2,025 to 1 to win the AFC. They're 15 to 1. They're the favorite to win the AFC South at minus 155, and their win total is at 9.5. Now, we could get a little freaky over here. I don't know about Super Bowl, but definitely AFC South. I think they deserve to be the favorite, and 15 to 1. I think that's a good price for Trevor Lawrence, who, is continuing to impress and continue to improve. So what do you like here? Win total, AFC South, AFC. What do you like?
You want me to just rattle them off and then go to
you? What do you like?
All right, Dale, let's just start at the MVP race. I think we got to sprinkle something at the plus 1,500, Dale. I think Trevor Lawrence, like we alluded to earlier, we got Evan Ingram. He's going to have a true number 1 in Calvin Ridley. We saw him last time he was in the NFL. He was a top 10 wide receiver, people. Let's not forget. So I think with Marvin Jones Jr., Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, Evan Ingram. Remember, let's not forget, Travis Etienne is there as well. And Dougie P calling the plays, though. I do believe Trevor Lawrence will be a little better than we saw last season. Take that extra step. And I'm going to be honest, though, I give him an outside shot to win the MVP. I'm not saying that's my MVP favorite. All I'm saying is if you have, extra $375 in the account that you got nothing to bet on, throw it on the Trevor Lawrence on the MVP deal. It's not a horrible bet. I do give him a shot to win the MVP deal. I like this offense moving forward. Week 1.
Well, hold up. I do want to say something. I like it just because the number to lead the league in passing yards is much shorter, and I don't understand that. If he has a chance to win MVP. He's going to lead the league in passing. So it just doesn't correlate. I agree with you. You got to take the MVP if you're going to take a future on Trevor Lawrence.
We both agree they're most likely going to win the division. So that's one thing for the MVP. You got to win the division for the MVP. 2, gonna have to lead the league in passing, and I think he has a shot to do it. And with the touchdowns deal, he has a chance to do it rushing and throwing with the touchdowns deal. So I do give him a shot. You got to respect Trevor Lawrence's legs at the end of the day. Well, I got to play for week 1. Give me Jacksonville Jaguars -3.5 against the Colts in week 1 on the road. I just expect Jacksonville to be a much better team than the Colts. Anthony Richardson, first game, you don't know what we're going to expect from him game 1. I know what to expect from Trevor Lawrence in that offense. And respectfully, that defense still. Josh Allen's still there, So give me week 1 -3.5 Jacksonville to win the division.
No, I was just gonna say it's also a very good teaser spot as well. If you want to take put Jackson down as well, it's a good teaser spot. So I agree there.
To +2.5, 3. So
yeah.
To win the division, little chalky -155. I love it. I'm not gonna say. I mean, I like it. I'm not gonna say I love it. -155 is a little rich. I wouldn't bet that exactly. I do like the over as well. Over wins at 9.5. It's
-150 as well.
It's a little chalky. So my play for you people is to win exactly 10 games. Give me Jacksonville to win exactly 10 games at +600. Though I think this team goes 10-7 and wins the division.
So I like that. How much is it? Plus what?
600 to win exactly.
I don't understand that. If the win total market is at 9.5 for them, and for them to just go over it, which the market is telling you it is at -150, for them to win 10 games, which they think they're going to give you +600, you got to jump on it. That's great. That's great job by you. I like that play. Make the playoffs -200. You were speaking about them winning the AFC South. I agree. The numbers actually come down. A few months ago when these numbers in this market came out, they opened up a -170 and people jumped on that, which I thought was a very generous price. Now it's come down to -150. I don't understand the line movement. If anything, I thought it would have moved up to closer to $2.
D-Hop moving the needle.
But
another prop I like. I stayed away from the passing yards deal just because I expect Travis Etienne to have another good season as well. Dill, give me Trevor Lawrence over 25.5 passing touchdowns. With Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, I think that's a short number. It wouldn't shock me if he gets around 30, 35, possibly even maybe into the, I wouldn't say 40s, but it wouldn't shock me if he finishes with 37, So I think at 25.5, it's just a little disrespectful, to be honest. I expect at least 5 to 10 more touchdowns over that, to be honest. Yeah. So that's one of my locks for this upcoming season. Trevor Lawrence over 25.5 passing touchdowns. And then I'm going to go to his new number 1 wide receiver, Dill. Give me Calvin Ridley over 850.5 receiving yards. I think that number is too short. I think he goes for 1,000 this season. Definitely over 900. But I think Calvin Ridley goes for over 1,000 in this offense with Dougie P. Dill. Give me Calvin Ridley over 850 receiving yards, Dill.
Love that number. I'll start with Calvin Ridley because I agree with the 850.5 receiving yards. He got suspended, but prior to that, he had 2020, 1,373, 2019, 866, 821. He's gotten over this in 3 of his 4 years in the league. The 1 year he didn't, where he only played five games, but remove that 5 games, he's gone over this in all of them. 2018, he had 10 touchdowns. 2019, he had 7 touchdowns. 2020, his best year, he had 9 touchdowns. I'm telling you, 2021, where was the year where he only played 5 games, he only had 2 touchdowns. But give me his receiving touchdowns at 5.5. So I'm going to go over 850 receiving yards. I think he's going to have a breakout season because he is their new number 1. I think he is better than Christian Kirk. I'm going to go over that. I think he's better than Zay Moss as well. Zay Jones, excuse me. But he's better than him too. It doesn't really even matter. So I'm going to go over 850 receiving yards. I'm going to go over 5.5 touchdowns. Are you touching anything with Christian Kirk related?
Nah, Dale, I ain't gonna stay away just because, I do believe the number one, number two, number three options is gonna be Calvin Ridley, Travis Etienne, and Evan Ingram. Don't get me wrong, Christian Kirk is that guy. He's good. He's great. I just feel like those are gonna be the three primary targets, and then Christian Kirk is there as a check down or as a deep threat over the top. But I do think Evan Ingram, Calvin Ridley, and Travis Etienne is going to be the main focus of the offense.
Let's not forget, Christian Kirk had 1,000-yard receiving year last year. Granted, it was out without Calvin Ridley. I understand that. But I think some of those targets are now going to be towards Calvin Ridley. So last year, he had a great year. 84 catches for 1,108 yards. He had 8 touchdowns. I kind of like his over. I'm not going to touch the 825, even though it seems small. He's gone over this in 2 straight years. His last year with Cardinals, he had 982 and he had 5 touchdowns. I'm going to go over 4.5 touchdowns. It's juiced to -125, but for good reason. Last year, he had 8 touchdowns. His last year with the Cardinals, he had 5. 2020 with the Cardinals, he had 6. And his first 2 years in the league, 2018 and 2019, he had 3. So I think he gets over 4.5. I think he gets 5 because I do think they're going to be very pass heavy. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to find him in certain situations. And there's just not enough DBs and linebackers to cover all these guys. You got Evan Ingram. You got Zay Thomas, you got Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk. There's going to be a lot. And don't forget, Travis Etienne could catch it out of the backfield as well. So I'm not going to touch his receiving yards, but I do like Christian Kirk over 4.5 touchdowns as well. I'm going to go back to the one you mentioned as well. I do like his passing touchdown to go over 25.5 for Trevor Lawrence. His first 2 years in the league, his first year in the league, he threw for 3,641. He only had 12 touchdowns. That was with a dysfunctioning Urban Meyer. But last season, when you finally got an adult in the room, he threw for over 4,000 yards. He threw for 25 touchdowns. I think he's going to take even another step. I think he gets one more touchdown than he did last season, and they're getting his wide receiver 1. So I do like that. 3,900
and a full with Evan Ingram.
Yeah, that also is true. I stayed away from the passing yards, to be honest. He could, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if he threw for 4,000 yards again. It really wouldn't.
Am I going to bet it?
No, I have nothing no really opinion on that. I do think he could go over it, but I don't want to tie my money up into that because I could see him going under. I could see them running the ball a little more this year, to be honest. And we'll start there. Travis Etienne, his rushing yards, no rushing touchdowns, but his rushing yards is set at 900.5. Do you like that?
900.5. I do expect him to hit over the number. I'm not gonna bet it just because, that wide receiver with the tight end, they're deep there, and Dougie P, he ain't shy of passing the ball now. So I just feel like that passing offense is gonna flourish this season. I do like Travis Etienne to still go over, but I'm not gonna bet it just because he hits a lot of home runs. It wouldn't shock me if Travis Etienne has 5 or 4, at least 5 40+ yard runs this season. It's not gonna shock me. So that's 200+ right there alone. So I do like it to go over, though. I'm just not going to bet on it just because I expect Trevor Lawrence to hit that next step and that offense to flourish in the passing game.
Yeah, last year, Travis Etienne, he finally was healthy. He played a whole season, 17 games, 1,125 rushing yards. He had 5 touchdowns. He had a couple long home run hits. Like you said, his longest rush of the season was 62 yards. He was averaging around 5.1 yards per carry.
That's great. 5.1.
Yeah. I mean, coming off that injury,
you're getting a first down. No bullshit.
Yeah, I was taught growing up playing football, you want to average 4 to 5 yards per carry because that's a first down. You're gonna continue to move the sticks. And coming off that injury, I kind of was shocked that he had a good year, as good a year as he did. So I'm not gonna touch 9.5 or 900.5, his rushing yards, but I could see him going over. I could see him get another 1,000-yard season, to be honest. I think Doug Peterson is just going to continue to put these guys in the right situation, in the right position.
People can say what they want about Doug Peterson. At the end of the day, he is an offensive guru. He's an offensive genius. You know, you can say what you want to get. He's a little whacked out, whatever, yeah. But the guy knows how to run an offense.
And he won a Super Bowl. And the
only
thing, yeah.
First he beat Chicago. And then
Then
he beat New Orleans.
Yeah.
That defense was stellar, and they had Drew Brees. People forget.
What was I gonna say? The only thing you mentioned, the whacked out. The only thing that's just funny. I think he's a great coach. I think he's a top 10 coach in the league. Only thing that's funny to me is like he won one Super Bowl and then he goes out and writes a book on how to win a Super Bowl. That's got it. That got it.
I mean, that makes sense.
You don't see Bill Belichick, Nick Saban winning all the. You don't see them writing books on how to, and I think they're more equipped to write a book on how to do that. I just thought that was funny from Doug Peterson. But Elvis, that's gonna do it. Thank you. Any last words? Anything you're doing this week? What are the plans this week? What are you doing?
Let's just hope the temperature goes down a little bit. Hopefully, we get a nice 73-degree day like Dylan is right now in Minnesota. So hopefully, we get a nice 70, 80-degree day out here in Jersey for once.
You know what's big here? Cheese curds. Because we're right next to Wisconsin, cheese curds, instead of how we have like fries with a sandwich or a burger, they have tots. Like tater tots are huge here.
Yeah.
And I guess during the pandemic, like PB&J fries, PB&J burgers. I don't know. I looked at them sideways. They go, you're not from around here, right? And I showed them my license because I got a beer. And I was like, nah, I'm not. And they were like, oh, yeah, since the pandemic, we started putting peanut butter on a lot of things. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And when she walked away, I was like, you're fucking weird. But other than that, going to continue to visit some lakes, some lighthouse. I'm going to go see the Lake Superior, the biggest Great Lake tomorrow. So can't wait for that. But yeah, going to be a chill week over here. Can't wait to get back to Al. Miss him though. Miss my dog. Big Al. But other than that, Elvis, thank you so much. That's going to do it for this Monday edition of The Dream Wager. On behalf of Viva, our sponsor, Elvis, myself, we'll see you guys in a few days. So follow along our social media, Twitter and Instagram at The Dream Wager. You guys can find all of our episodes wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. We go live every Monday and Saturday on YouTube, youtube.com/The Dream Wager. Subscribe, rate, give us a review. It literally takes 5 seconds. It really helps the show grow tremendously. So be a friend, tell a friend. Everyone have a great week. Good luck on your wagers. Be safe, be well. We'll see you guys down the road. Peace.